When I sat down at the ASSE Summit and we started talking about web, cloud, and mobile, I was thinking about the conference I had gone to right before ASSE. I had gone to another conference where there were a bunch of startup companies presenting their products, and I was proud to show up with my MacBook and get up and show a cloud solution in a browser, which I thought was pretty cool, with no install and everything. And I thought that was cool, but I noticed I was about, just like today, I was one in a list of about 10 speakers, and I was probably number 8. Every single other person before me just walked up and opened their browser without making a big deal about it, just on the computer that was sitting here on the lectern with seeming no preparation, really, and demonstrated their product, and no one said a word about it. No one said, oh, that's cool. Don't you have to install something? Is it a cloud product? No one even thought to ask those things, and I watched that. And then I went to the summit. It was the next event I went to. People were like, I don't know about cloud. And I had this feeling that maybe, just maybe, we're the last group of people on planet Earth that are talking about whether web, cloud, and mobile are a reality and what to do about it. Every other event in the world is having a special session on non-web, cloud, and mobile. Do we need installed software? Should we build something offline? Maybe that's important to add on. I just found that interesting. So I'm here today to summarize the various working group discussions we had at ASSE, and I just want to remind, as I think is clear, these aren't necessarily the views of my company, Onshape, or our partners. I'm trying to tell you what I saw going on. Of course, there's a huge overlap, and I can't help but editorialize a little. Brad said, report on what do we know and what do we not know? What are some of the unanswered questions and the implications? These are the actual notes that Brad was kind enough to give me. I thought I'd bring you the actual notes. Slightly, moments before this picture was taken, that sheet of paper was covered with sticky notes that various people had posted to vote on these things. And the red shows you the topics of concerns and the green of benefit. And I'm going to try to cover most of these to the extent I can to kind of give you a feeling of what the groupthink was in the room. So first, what does web, cloud, and mobile mean? One of the things we talked about at the event is, hey, after all, we've all been using the cloud for years. Is this new? I mean, we've been downloading software from cloud servers. How many of you have downloaded simulation or CAD from cloud server? Install service packs. That's not news. We've been using FTP and Box and Dropbox and Google Drive to store files. Everyone familiar with that? Some of you are in companies that endorse that, and some of you are in companies that prohibit that, but all of you are in companies that do it. Yeah, so I always say when you talk to users and they laugh, you've learned something. So, and we've installed solvers on cloud compute engines. I've come to CoFES for several years now, and people say, we're doing cloud. We just ordered our new cloud. We're getting this HPC cluster, and that's a good thing to do, but that's not what we're talking about when we talk about web, cloud, and mobile. And I'd submit to you that on the rest of planet Earth, that's not what people are talking about when they talk about web, cloud, and mobile. So we think it means things that run in cloud servers that you use in browsers and mobile, which is what I think Google and Facebook and Workday and Salesforce. I just went to a Salesforce event. Very interesting thing to go to. Anyone heard of Salesforce? Yeah. They're only doing $6 billion a year, bigger than our whole industry, I think. I met with some of their sales team, and they said, we feel we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. Try mentioning anything to Salesforce about installing software. They don't have such a concept. They're certainly not having sessions about web, cloud, and mobile, about whether or not it's any good anyway. So why is it critical for the future of our industry? Few topics. One is accessibility. By accessibility, and that was one of the breakouts I was in, is how do we bring this to more people? The question is, how can we get more people using these tools? And obviously, if you don't have to download, install, and worry about what kind of hardware you have, John said, anywhere, any device, anytime. Virtualization is one way to get there. Sure, it's certainly one view. Another view is just, make it run on any of these devices. We can make it more accessible to more people. We can let existing users use it on more different computing devices, because nobody has one computer anymore, right? I don't know about you, but I think I walked in with at least 3, and I suppose when my watch arrives from Apple, well, 4, I don't know. Most people around here seem to have 2, 3, 4 computers. It's also about how about making it affordable, making people stop worrying about what hardware they have. Another issue is performance. John Knight, great chart. I really liked it. Moore's Law, though, Moore's Law talks, if I remember it correctly, talks about the cost per unit of computing. It doesn't talk about clock speed, which has hit a wall. I don't know if anyone noticed, the new MacBook is a little slower on clock speed than the old one. Not going to be solved anytime soon. If we want to use lots of computing power, GPUs, there's more of them because GPUs are parallelized, But anyway, if we want to get massive computing gains, I think the cloud is performance gains, cloud is a very interesting way to do that. Simplicity of deployment. Haven't met any users lately who love installing stuff. I don't know about you, don't get that a lot. Huge cost. Anyone look at the bills? You users out there? I'm just shocked at the costs it takes to administer and run these things. Design exploration. What if we want to do an analysis not of one concept, but of a whole n-dimensional matrix of concepts? That's probably better done on huge clouds of computers from Amazon or Google than it is on trying to do it ourselves. And we don't need to do that 24 hours a day, so renting those computing resources seem better than buying. That was something interesting for me to pick up on, was how many people want to do that. Run huge arrays of simulation activity. Cost can be a rental model, pay when you need it basis. And collaboration. The idea if the tool is centralized, that an entire group can look at it. Mark said collective insights, which means multiple people are looking at the results or participating. And cloud systems tend to be naturally collaborative. Everyone who uses Salesforce looks at the same database. There's no special collaboration mode or copying or something like that, or a weird viewer or something. It's just everyone looks at the same data, same time. What are the issues? Security was a big one right away. Security comes up. And I think it's under 2 categories we realize. One is actual security issues. Some people just can't use cloud systems, and that was made very clear to me, and particularly large simulation users today, people in military, aerospace. Some of the people at the summit were just saying to me, we just don't have a choice. We might believe everything, but we can't choose to use these systems today. And so that's a reality, and we have to respect that as an industry. There's also a big perception issue, though. People think their data, for some reason, people think that data on a Google server is riskier than on the computer in your office, that employees are going to random websites and browsing and so forth. I can tell you, talking to people who build cloud systems, that the security measures that every cloud system takes are way beyond what almost all CAD users could even think about. Ponder that for a while, you see what I mean? You get it. Someone laughed again. Maybe we learned something there. I mean, people are like, well, the NSA can get to Google servers. Oh, but the NSA isn't going to get to your laptop, are they? Okay, very interesting. All right. By the way, when your data is in Google servers, it's not walking out the door. How many bought a laptop with CAD data on it here? Not allowed in your company. Awesome, but many people I see have that. And when the data walks out the door on a laptop, it can get stolen in the parking lot. Not likely to happen in Amazon's cloud. And so form factor, territoriality, government regulation is another huge issue I learned. Sometimes you just can't put data wherever you like. What needs to be addressed? Developing these apps is complicated. They're different computing architectures. It's a whole different platform. I talked about that a couple years ago right here in this room. There's a real lack of skills in building browser-based and mobile applications in this marketplace. A real lack of understanding of SaaS computing architectures. And then there's user acceptance. One of the reasons people aren't building it is because users aren't buying it. It's sort of a chicken and egg situation. So I think the most fun discussions that we had there was I captured it as dare to dream a little. What's the ultimate web, cloud, mobile analysis, simulation, and systems engineering vision that you all can participate in coming up with. I mean, me and my colleagues at my company have painted one vision for CAD, and we're doing some partnering work, and we can talk about our suite, but really dare to dream. As I said at the beginning, don't just think about, can we put this app on a server somewhere? Rethink the whole problem and see what could cloud, web, and mobile do for this industry if we take it to its fullest expression. And how do we get there? Thinking about all these issues we just raised. And so with that, I think I left a little teeny slice of time for questions.
So, questions? Oh, Bob.
So I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about cloud security versus on-premise security. I think it's more of a cultural thing than a reality, because I don't see anybody being able to find my specific data on the Amazon cloud, but they know where my data is when it's on my premises.
Yeah.
So was there any idea about how we overcome that prejudice and educate the business side of the house, which is really where most of that prejudice is coming from?
Was there any idea? I don't think there was any specific idea I can remember, and I'll ask my fellow ASSE participants. There was a feeling that for some reason our market's behind in its maturity and understanding of these things. And maybe it's as simple as, I'll give you one right now, maybe it's as simple as starting to use and understand what these systems are. I mean, they're hard to understand if you don't use them. If you don't use Salesforce, you don't use Google Docs, you don't really understand what they're about. And so folks have to start using them. It has to be more general acceptance. I'm not sure how you get it started, but I'd say all of us could play a part by, going home and telling a few people about it and trying something. And the vendors can do something. Every time one of the vendors comes out with something new, and no matter, a lot of us are talking about it, I think that raises awareness as well.